Hi friends, welcome to EduTap. So welcome to this particular video wherein we're going to discuss the questions that were asked in RBI Grade B 2019 Phase 2 examination ESI paper. So friends, before we begin and discuss the 1 markers as well as the 2 markers along with their answers, we are very happy to tell you that a total of 49 questions out of 65 questions were covered in the course material that EduTap provides. So if you convert these number of questions into marks, a total of 76 out of 100 marks were directly asked from the course that we had provided. So having said that, let's begin. Let's have a look at the question, the answer, and then exactly from where that particular question was covered in the source. So the first question that you can see, according to the CS Gender 3000 and 2019, the Changing Face of Companies report, what is the percentage increase in India's female representation on boards over the past 5 years in the year 2019? The answer is 15.2%. So you can see here that we had provided few MCQs on report and indices. So in that part 2, we have covered this particular news. And here you can see in the explanation part very clearly, India's current data on women representation on board is 15.2%. Next, moving on, second question on your screen. How much amount would be injected by the union government in the alternate investment fund, which has a total corpus of rupees 25,000 crore? And the answer is 10,000 crore. And this was again covered in the monthly magazine that we had provided for November 2019. So it is very clearly written that the government will contribute rupees 10,000 crore and the rest will come from LIC and the State Bank of India. Moving on, the third question, the RBI has permitted ARCs to purchase financial assets from peers provided the transaction is on a dash, and the answer is cash basis. So here you can see that we have covered the same in the June monthly current affairs magazine that we provide. So this is a news. RBI allows ARCs to buy financial assets from peers. So here it is, this particular news. Moving on to the fourth question, which of the following does not account for capital payments under BOP, that is balance of payments? The answer is transfer payments. We had covered this news article in one of the static chapters, that is balance of payments chapter under economics. So here you can see, while describing current account, you can see that there are two categories here, visibles and invisibles. Under invisibles you have transfer payments. So the question says which is not one of the components of capital payment. So obviously if transfer payments comes under current account, then the answer would be very easy. So this is what was covered. The fifth question, the union government has imposed 2% TDS on cash withdrawal exceeding which of the following amounts? And the answer is 1 crore. So here you can see this news article was covered in August monthly current affairs magazine. Very clearly the title itself says it all. TDS on cash withdrawal above 1 crore from September 1. Sixth question, which of the following organization has submitted a master plan of $300 million for logistics infrastructure development in Kolkata? So here again you can see we have covered this in November monthly current affairs magazine. Again you can see the title that World Bank submits master plan for $300 million logistics infra development in Kolkata. So again the title says it all. Moving to the next question, what is India's life expectancy according to the National Health Profile 2019? The answer is 68.7 years. Next, under which of the following circumstances invocation of President's rule as per Article 356 of the Indian Constitution will be valid? And the answer is some state agencies are involved in corruption and the state is not taking actions against them. Moving on, this particular question is covered in one of the static portion, one of the component of the static portion. There's a chapter Indian political system. So in the content sheet we had given emergency powers. There's a section there, and under that Article 356 was explained, and why this is can be invoked was also given the reason. Next. Which of the following organization releases the World Economic Outlook report? The answer is IMF, and this is covered in the October monthly current affairs magazine. So here very clearly International Monetary Fund releases the World Economic Outlook, so it is given here itself. Next, as per the UN's multidimensional poverty index report, India has lifted how many people out of poverty between 2005-6 and 2015-16? The answer is 271 million people. Next, the 11th question, Article 1A of the Indian Constitution refers India as what? The answer is Union of States. So, in one of the chapters that we had taken, again Indian political system, you can see here that this was a introduction that we had given. So, Article 1 states that India, that is Bharat, shall be a Union of States. Moving on to the 12th question on your screen, a Global Green New Deal report has been published by which of the following organizations? The answer is UNEP. Next, the steering committee on fintech related issues constituted by the Ministry of Finance is headed by. So the answer is Secretary, Department of Economic Affairs. So this was covered in the September month Current Affairs magazine, and you can see the title also, Fintech Panel Bats for Virtual Banks Easing KYC Norms. Next, SEQI was developed by which of the following organizations? It is Niti Aayog. Very simple. This was there in the news, and we had also covered this in the September monthly Current Affairs magazine that we provide. Very clearly, the heading itself says it all. Niti Aayog releases School Education Quality Index. 15th question, the multilateral convention to implement tax treaty related measures to prevent base erosion and profit shifting will be effective from which of the following financial year? The answer is 2020-21. And this was again covered in July monthly Current Affairs magazine. Here you can see India ratifies OECD's convention to check the tax evasion. So here you can clearly see that this would come into effect from the fiscal year 2020-21 for bilateral tax treaties. Next, a question on the definition of MSF, marginal standing facility, was there. So a certain statement was given, so you need to identify what term was it. So answer was MSF. So we have one of the chapters, monetary policy, under economics. So here you can see MSF was clearly explained there. We have taken screenshots directly from the course material that we provide. Next, 17th question, share of exports of products related to India's MSME during the year 2018-19 stood at what percentage? Answer is 48.10%. You can see this was again covered in the July monthly Current Affairs magazine that we provide. So here MSME sector contributes significantly to Indian economy, right? So here it is given the share during 2018-19, it is 48.10%. According to the Financial Benchmark Administrator Guidelines by the RBI, no FBA shall administer a significant benchmark without obtaining authorization of what or which organization basically. Answer is RBI, Reserve Bank of India. So here we had taken this in the Finance Current Affairs. So there was a news, Financial Benchmark Administrator's directions. So here it is, you can see that clearly this news was elaborated in this particular current affairs that we had provided, the PDF. Next, the 19th one, according to SECC, about how much percentage of rural households are landless and derive a major part of their income from manual casual labor? The answer is 30%. This was again covered in the highlights that we had provided for SECC. It is very clearly there, and the answer here is 30%, nearly 30.04. Here it is. Next, who among the following gave the term animal spirits? Answer is John Maynard Keynes. Next, the annual meeting of the World Economic Forum marking its 50th anniversary will be held in which of the following places? Answer is Davos, Switzerland. 22nd question, the contribution of agriculture to the GVA has decreased from 15% in 2015-16 to how much in 2018-19? The answer is 14.4%. 23rd, as per the revised economic capital framework for RBI, RBI is to maintain the contingency risk buffer within what range of the RBI's balance sheet? The answer is 5.5 to 6.5%. You can see here there is a news article which says RBI releases report on review of economic capital framework. So here it is a very first recommendation that was mentioned regarding the contingency risk buffer. Okay, so between 5.5 to 6.5%. Next, in the Eastern Economic Forum, India has pledged how much amount as a line of credit for the development of Russia's Far East? Answer is $1 billion. This was again covered in the September monthly Current Affairs magazine that we provide. So here very easily you can see the headline itself. PM Modi announces $1 billion line of credit for development of Russia's Far East. 25th question. SEIS is one of the two schemes that was introduced under the Foreign Trade Policy 2015-20. What is the full form of SEIS? And the answer is Services Exports from India scheme. So here is the November monthly Current Affairs magazine, and here you can clearly see that we have MEIS here. Okay, so this was there. as well as SEIS that was there in the news. Next, as per the Niti Aayog Health Index, which of the following state has performed the worst? The answer is Uttar Pradesh. So here you can see this was covered in the June monthly current affairs magazine, which said Niti Aayog releases its health index. So here clearly mentioned, according to the index, UP is the worst when it comes to overall health performance. 27th question, green bonds have been released by which of the following organization? BIS, Bank of International Settlements. This was again covered in the September monthly current affairs magazine that we provide. So you can see here BIS sets up green bond fund for central banks. Okay, so the heading again says it all. So next, as per the report prepared by the Labour Bureau under the Ministry of Labour and Employment, the number of employees in the establishments that availed loans under the Pradhan Mantri Mudra scheme increased to how many millions from 39.3 million before the loans? And the answer is 50.4 million. Next, as part of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, what is the total number of targets that are to be achieved under the 17 SDGs? Answer is 169 targets. So again, in the Yojana magazine, the MCQs that we provide in the month of September 2019, we had covered this very clearly regarding the number of goals plus the number of targets. Next, coming to 2 markers. So we are done with 1 markers. We have 31 markers in total and we have 35 2 markers in total. So let's see what were the questions that were there in 2 markers. So here you can see there was a passage that was asked on SDG India Index, and the first question based on this passage said the SDG India Index tracks progress of all states and union territories on some priority indicators selected by Niti Aayog. Which of the following statements is or are correct regarding the same? Now we were able to collect nearly 2 statements that were given. The third one we are not very sure. So in case you have any feedback, you have any you remember those statements, you can just write down in the comment section below. So here you can see it was regarding 62 priority indicators. It was also regarding 3 not 6 indicators, and the other statement we do not know. So this again was very well covered in the December 2018 magazine that we had provided. So it was regarding SDG India Index, and here clearly you can see that we mentioned about the priority indicators as well as the national indicator framework comprising 306 indicators. Next, which of the following organization along with the UN has partnered with Niti Aayog in releasing the SDG India Index? The answer is Global Green Growth Institute. Again, this was there in the magazine that we had covered. You can see very clearly that it has been developed in collaboration with MOSPI, that is the Ministry of Statistics and Program Implementation, Global Green Growth Institute and UN. Next, 32nd question, which of the following states in India is not among the front runners as per the SDG India Index? The answer is Andhra Pradesh. So the front runner states are Himachal Pradesh, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Chandigarh and Puducherry. So here Andhra Pradesh was given, so that is not the correct option. So you can see we have clearly mentioned this as well in the same news article that we were showing you before. Next, if you see, continuing with the same paragraph, the SDG India Index aligns the SDGs with the Prime Minister's clarion call of Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas, which embodies the 5 P's of the global SDG movement. Which of the following is not one among the 5 P's? The answer is perspective. So here you can see we have covered this in our syllabus, and here it is clearly given the 5 P's that are mentioned: movement, people, people, planet, prosperity, partnership and peace. Then there was a passage on Nirmaya scheme. The first one, the question read, which of the following is an insurance scheme for persons with disabilities? Answer is Nirmaya scheme. We need to identify the scheme talked about in the passage. Next, there was a question which referred to identifying which of the following statement is true about the scheme. This again we were not able to get from the students. They were not able to recollect the exact statement. So if you know, you can mention that in the comment section. Which of the following is a statutory body of the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment, Government of India, set up under the National Trust for the Welfare of Persons with Autism, Cerebral Palsy, Mental Retardation and Multiple Disabilities Act? And the answer is National Trust. So this one, next we see there was a passage on goal scheme or initiative, we may call it. So the first question read, the above mentioned scheme was launched by which of the following organization or companies? The answer is Facebook. This was covered in the October monthly current affairs magazine. Again, you can see this was covered here, automatically very simple. And The next question, the Ministry of Tribal Affairs has partnered with which of the following organizations to run the scheme? Answer is Niti Aayog. Which of the following statements is true about the scheme mentioned above in the passage? So again, this we were not able to recollect the statements that were given. Moving on, paragraph on Skill India mission was asked. So here, which of the following is a tagline of the scheme mentioned in the above passage? Answer is Kaushal Bharat, Kushal Bharat. So this was there in the Yojana magazine that we had provided. So we had pasted a logo, plus we had the tagline given under that as well. Next, in 2015, 4 landmark initiatives were launched along with the scheme mentioned in the above passage. Which one of the following was not one among them? The answer is Stand Up India. So there were 4 important initiatives that were launched. We have given the names of these in the bracket below. So here you can see that in the schemes that we have provided, we have clearly mentioned the launch date of the schemes. So if you talk about the Skill India mission, that has been launched in the year 2015, and all the other 4 obviously were launched at the same time. So Stand Up India mission was not launched in 2015 but in 2016. Next, which of the following statements is true about the above mentioned scheme? Skill India mission aims to train over 40 crore people in India in different skills by the year 2022. Moving on, which of the following actor and actress have promoted the mission talked about in the passage given above through one of their Hindi movies? Now, few students have told us that they haven't mentioned the name of the movie, so that also can be a probability that the question stops till Hindi movies and question mark. So the answer is Varun Dhawan and Anushka Sharma. So they're talking about Sui Dhaga movie that had been released at that point of time. Then there was a passage on GDP and national income. So we are not able to recollect the exact paragraph that was given, but it dealt with GDP and national income. So the first question related to that passage was, which of the following has been referred to in the above given passage? So the answer is GDP and national income. So this we have taken a screenshot from the static portion that we provide. So here clearly we have given about the information about GDP. So next, which of the following was one of the reasons for the slowdown experienced in Q4 of 2018-19? Answer is decline in consumption part. Moving on, which of the following term denotes the average income earned by a person in India? The answer is per capita income, right? So this again, this concept is clearly given in the static content sheet or the summary sheet that we have provided for your first chapter, in fact, in the ESI section, measurement of growth, national income and per capita income. So there is a section where per capita income is clearly explained. So that is what need to be applied there while answering the question. We had a paragraph on RCEP. The first question referred was which organization has been referred to in the above mentioned passage. So it is RCEP. You need to identify that. So here you can see this was covered in the October monthly current affairs magazine. So here it is very clearly given. Next, the referred deal is a free trade agreement with Dash and their 6 free trading agreement partners. Answer is ASEAN. So here it is that yes, so it is about the RCEP and what this particular deal about. So very clearly mentioned here. Okay. Next, which of the following are the reasons for India to leave the deal referred to in the above mentioned passage? So this was covered here in the November monthly current affairs magazine. We are not exactly able to recollect the options, but there was a news article which we exclusively explained. So India withdraws from RCEP. Why India has withdrawn from RCEP is explained. So this is one of the reasons that will be there in the option given in the paper. Then there was a paragraph on industrial policy. What is the name of the third industrial policy launched after the ones that were released in 1956 and 1991? Answer is Industry 4.0. Next, which department has released the policy talked about in the above mentioned passage? And it is Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. So you can see there is a static chapter which says industrial policy. So we were talking about new industrial policy being formulated, right? Which of the following is true about the policy mentioned in the above given passage? All the above is the answer that we were able to recollect from the students, but again the statements are not, we were not able to recollect the statements. The students were not able to do so. So here it is, the answer was all the above. So again in the chapter industrial policy, we have explained about this particular new policy that is to be there. So DIPP website. Next, which of the following is the aim of the policy talked about in the above given passage? It is to reduce the regulatory hurdles. So this was again explained very well here in the content sheet that we had provided. Then there was a paragraph on Jal Jeevan Mission or Jal Shakti Abhiyan. So the first question read was, which of the following are the components of the mission talked about in the passage? So The answer was all the above. So this was covered in the July monthly current affairs magazine. You can see a Jal Shakti Abhiyan, government launches water conservation campaign. How many blocks have been covered as part of the mission talked about in the passage? It is 1592. So this was again covered in the same news article that we are referring to. So here it is stressed that it's a conservation campaign, and it puts emphasis on 1592 stressed blocks in 256 districts. Next, which of the following statements is or are not true regarding the plantation drive of the mission referred to in the passage? So the answer was probably that planting those trees which absorb moisture. I think that was the correct answer. I'm not very sure. So this was covered again in the July monthly current affairs magazine. Okay. Next, there was a passage on external benchmarks. This was very much in news. It's important piece of information as well. The question read, under the external benchmark based lending of the personal or retail loans, which one of the following is not one of the benchmarks for linking the loan rates? The answer is bank's own cost of fund rate. So this particular news article was covered in the September monthly current affairs magazine. You can see RBI asks banks to link retail and MSME loans to external benchmark from 1st of October. So here it is. We can see that what are the benchmarks that can be used. So either RBI policy repo rate, or Government of India 3 months or 6 months treasury bill yield, or any other benchmark interest rate published by the Financial Benchmarks India Private Limited. So it is from this area that the question is being asked. What will be the impact of the transmission of lower interest rates on loans? It is lower EMI of loans. So in case you have understood this particular news article properly, this is a concept based question, you would have answered this correctly. Next, here again we have next question, fiscal deficit minus interest payments equal to what? So this is a static concept based question. Answer is primary deficit. So this was covered in the fiscal policy chapter, very clearly given here. Primary deficit is equal to fiscal deficit minus interest liabilities. Next question, as per the bi-monthly monetary policy released by the RBI in October 2019, what is the GDP growth forecast for 2019-20? Answer is 6.1%. This was covered in the growth rate projections for the financial year 20 that we had released before the examination. So you can see a 6.1% given clearly. Moving on, there was a passage on UNCTAD, right? So the question said what has been the forecast of India's growth rate for 2019 by the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. So this news article was again covered in the September monthly current affairs magazine. So yes friends, this is all about the 65 questions. We were able to recollect 61 questions only. So there are 4 more questions we need to figure out. So but yes, these are memory based questions, and we had collected this from our students. So in case you have any feedback, you can just mention that in the comment section below. So again, we are really happy that we were able to cater to most of the questions that were there in the paper from the material that we provide. And as you can see, 49 out of 65 questions were asked, and 76 out of 100 marks was there from our course material. Secondly, this particular PDF can be seen, we will upload this in the Telegram channel of EduTap. You can download it from there and keep it for your reference as well. Plus, moving ahead, we'll also be coming out with FM analysis. Secondly, we'll also be coming out with a detailed analysis regarding what are the areas from where the questions were asked, what are the topics that got more importance, and what kind of questions were asked when you talk about specifically current affairs. So all these things we'll be catering to in a specific video that will be regarding the ESI analysis as well as your FM analysis later. Right? Until then, friends, thank you so much and happy learning.